In this episode of the Veteran Business Community Podcast, I'm talking with Jason Neumann of Candid Property. Now, this week I'm talking to the combat cook. You probably wouldn't like me calling him that, but to be honest, Jason has spent many months living in combat outposts and forward operating bases, directly supporting the warfighters, out there cooking their meals for them every single day. So if you want to hear what it's like being in combat as a cook, which occurred many, many times, and there's many, many stories here that are rather raw and touching. So stick around, Jason Neumann. On this episode of the Veteran Business Community Podcast, I'm talking to Jason Neumann from Candid Property. How you going, Jason?
Yeah, good yourself, Pete.
Mate, I'm fantastic. So whereabouts in the world are you today?
Ipswich, Queensland.
Mate, God country out there, the land of the Amberley Air Force Base. I've been out there many times.
Yeah, yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Mate, actually, before we do that far, tell us a little bit about Candid Property. What does Candid Property do?
So we're a bespoke buyers agency that help ADF personnel, healthcare workers, and busy professionals source their properties, both
Brilliant.
investment and own homes.
Well, mate, we're going to go here, there, and back again. I'm going to come back and talk a lot about Candid shortly, but tell us, where did you grow up and why did you join the military?
So I was born in Brizzy and then spent my younger years moving around Tassie, Ipswich. Um, Moved to Ipswich when I was 12, 11 or 12, and then did my high school years here. Wanted to join the army straight after school, do my chef certificate, do 4 years, get out. That
Yeah.
same old story.
How many did you end up
um,
doing after the initial taste of four?
16 and a half years total.
Oh, mate. And growing up in Ipswich, is that because well, I know when you're in Townsville, it's very much got that garrison town kind of feeling, AJ's wandering around everywhere. Is Ipswich the same kind of vibe, with Raffies and army jokes everywhere?
It's not too bad actually. Riverlink Shopping Centre, the main shopping centre, does get a bit that way payday Thursdays, but it's not too bad. Everyone's spaced out here at Amberley, so it's not too bad.
And what made you want to become a chef?
I just loved food,
Yeah.
loved cooking, loved food, loved seeing the smiles on people's faces as they're eating a good feed, and it's morale. So I thought I'll get paid to do my trade certificate, get out and see what happens.
Well, mate, I don't mean to be too rude, but looking at you on that side of the camera, it looks like I enjoy food a little bit more than you do. But mate, lucky I keep the camera from head up. Um, Tell us about life as a cook in the army.
It's changed over that 16 years I was in it. It changed a lot, as I'm sure you're aware. Having cooks in your individual units, um, and then we phased out cooks in the units, amalgamated them all into 10 FSB about
Yep.
2015, and that was a big shakeup. For the core, it was brand new. People were still trying to figure out what they were doing, what the role was. Army was trying to figure out who we are, what we do. And those teething issues didn't really sort themselves out till 2019, 2020. Um, then, yeah, we hit COVID and then
Well,
went fresh again.
mate, I was well and truly out by then. I was very lucky though, because I believe I was in one of the last regimental messes in the regular army. I'm not sure what they did in SOCOM, but when I marched into 3RL, we had our own catering platoon. And I think because we were part of 3rd Brigade and we were the only battalion that wasn't in Townsville, we were lucky enough to have our own cooks, our own kitchens. The diggers, I believe, used to eat in the area mess, but the officers and sergeants mess had our own, like, mate, we had our own chefs, and it was brilliant, man, because particularly as a young subby, like the lads and girls were so good. They'd be like, boss, what do you want to cook? Cook you anything. Give us a day's notice. We'll literally cook you anything. So, mate, it was a
Yeah.
really, really good time.
They were the days. They were 100% the days. Working in the senior NCO's mess was hands down the best place to work out of the OR's mess sergeants and officers. Um, just something about seeing NGOs that just resonated with me. Like they were old, like experienced enough, but still young enough to be larrikins and have a muck around. The
Yeah,
officers were very prudish, very
some of us.
British in their behavior until you
Yeah.
get to their dining in nights, and then
Oh,
oh, well, I
mate.
got nothing.
The dining in nights, man. What a
uh,
sloppy experience. I guess a bit of that needs to stay Chatham House, but behind closed
hmm
doors. But I do remember the thing with 3RER is we used to have Kapyong Day, which was on the 24th of April, backing into Anzac Day on the 25th. So the whole battalion would get out on parade, you know, a really special occasion. All the old diggers would come back. And then after that, we'd go over, after the full battalion parade, we'll go over to the Shat, which is like the diggers' mess. Stay there for an hour or two till they told us to, fuck off out of there and go back to your own mess. And then we would settle into a really interesting dining in night. But the problem is with Anzac Day, that dining in night would just kick all the way through into Anzac Day morning. And all of a sudden it's dawn service. And then you got to get out into the city to the Fortune War on Anzac Day. So, mate,
uh,
I don't think I could do that anymore. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. I did 3 years, 3 years with 3RR 2012 to 14. It's when they
Yeah.
first moved to Townsville from Sydney. And yeah, my first experience in 2012 of Kapyong Day
Yeah.
was an eye opener. Like the boys hit it hard, and it did go for 2 days straight
Oh,
from Kapyong into Anzac Day. Um, yeah, we spent like a week before prepping food, doing the garnishes, doing the plating, decorations, everything
yeah.
like that. Got through
But
Kapyong Day and then straight into breakfast for the gunfire breakfast for the lads. It was
Mate, but
just
this is part of the
hectic.
fun, like again, I was very lucky to have that regimental experience of again being a loggy within the infantry battalion and yeah, just good times, man, good times. But tell us
Yeah.
about did you have the privilege to deploy at all to get away?
Yeah, I did. So I deployed with 9 FSB, who went over FSU 4 in 2010 and 11. Um, and then I went over the next year with 3RAR with MTF 2, I think. Anyway, it was 2012. I basically spent 8 months back in Australia, and
Yeah.
then they booted me back overseas again.
So was that cooking in the kitchen at TK there?
No, no. I think I did maybe one day in the TK kitchen
Oh,
making
we were
pizzas of all things.
out in the fobs, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic, mate. FSU 4. I don't know whether I was on that same trip, mate, because I was sort of on a half trip, like a hand that was called a not force support unit, it was called a FET, force extraction team or something. And we were in the transition between 2 RER and I believe 7 RER. But was Duncan Pollux your CO? Does that name ring a bell?
Doesn't, no, it doesn't
Ah,
ring a
mate,
bell.
a digger wouldn't know
It was so long ago.
mate, a digger would know who the CO's name is anyway, man. Like, what do you care about that? Well,
Yeah.
mate, um, just before we get into your experiences of being out in the fobs and being out in the area, I just want to bring up Lance Corporal Andrew Jones's name. Mate, can you tell us a little about your how did you know Jonesy or what was your relationship with him?
Yeah, so Jonesy was at my first unit when I first got there at 9FSB.
Yep,
Um, we bonded over metal, nerded out on games, anime,
yeah,
just being um, loving life, I guess. And
yeah,
we both lived in Lyons, and we just had block. He just come to the block parties, and we cranked the metal and have some fun. Um, then we had the privilege of deploying on FSU 4 together, and I was at the same patrol base he was at. That was my first patrol base, Cop Marshall. Um, I moved out, Corporal went in, and then Jonesy went in after that. And over that stage between when I left, or as I was leaving, and the handover to the corporal, they had a changeover of the guard, I guess.
yep,
Um, and yeah, so when I left, I was out at another patrol base and unfortunately got told the news. And it knocked me for six. I didn't believe the CSM when he told me.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, we end up getting flown back the next day to back to TK for 6 days, 5 or 6 days, and we carried Jonesy on the repatriation um, ceremony.
Got it, mate.
So
Just for anyone out there, Lance Corporal Andrew Jones was killed in a green on blue while he was on picket. I was not on that trip. Now that you've, but I was not on FSU 4. That happened a couple of years before I got there. I knew Jonesy. He was working in the post office at East Timor. Actually, the co-founder of VBC, Matty Mosley, he was in transport platoon, a transport corps, and got sent to Townsville and sent to Timor to do a 29-day deployment. Obviously, a 29 deployment. Everyone knows what that means. No gongs for you.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Jonesy was the postie over there. For some random reason, he was in the post office at H Pod at Timor. So that's where I knew him because I was living at H Pod at the time, mate. But obviously, when Andrew was killed, it was an eye opener for all of us, particularly as a cook. Um, Mate, I didn't mean to scratch something too raw. I didn't realize that you were actually in country when it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's taken some time, but over the years, been going through therapy and stuff, and it's just one of those topics that have come up and just working through. So it's good to actually talk about stuff like that and actually get those feelings out. So don't apologize. It's all good.
Yeah, man. And for me, just keep his name alive, mate. Is of all of the combat casualties over there, we had a great young lad who was a cook, cooking out in the FOBs, doing his turn on picket just like any other soldier. And it really does bring home the mentality of soldier first, no matter what corps or no matter what job you do. But mate, can you share with me because mate, you got more, man, you were outside the fence nearly the whole trip. I barely stepped outside the fence at all in my job, mate. What was it like living out in the FOBs, with the warfighters?
Very different. Very, very different. The boys are excellent. Like it is like a one big happy family where you are. Um, the boys love the cooks and the bears, strangely enough,
The
and the
Bears, what are the
medics.
Bears?
Oh, electronic warfare.
I got you, of course. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they loved us, the bears, and the medic or doc.
yeah,
No matter where it was, there was always a doc. And yeah, whatever we needed, they were there helping out, whether it was cleaning up or just cooking some brekkie or whatever, just give us a break. It was fantastic. But when we got over there, we were told you're there to be an asset, not a liability. So we got trained on
yeah.
the platoon weapons, radios, um, trained as CFAs, combat first aiders. So no matter what happened in the base, no matter where we were, we had a basic idea on what to do in any situation. And funnily enough, Cop Marshall, the week before I got there, had a media team rock up and they got
Yep.
into a huge tick. Um, and the media team caught it all. And it was just
Oh,
one of
really?
many that they'd had in the lead up to that patrol base. Yeah. So
Was there any, apart from, random rockets will come in, was there any significant contacts when you were over there? Like the lads were going out and doing active patrolling on the outside. Was there anything back at the base?
yeah, yeah. So we had a bomb drop inside the FOB, like inside the cop, knocked over one of the radio um, antennas. Um, the
Just like
base got asked
RPG,
up.
RPG or mortar or something
Don't
like that.
know.
Who knows?
It might have been like a mortar, like a dud mortar or something. Just
Yeah, yeah,
I heard this bang, woke up, and then next thing you know, the boys are out there scattered around. I'm like,
yeah,
whatever, I'll just start cooking lunch.
yeah,
Let them do let them do their thing. Um, and yeah, it was just funny as, but we'd go to bed at like we'd knock off at nighttime, knock off,
yeah,
have some downtime after cooking dinner, and sometimes we'd play cards, go to the gym, watch movies, have my guitar there, I'd play some guitar. But if we were outside playing poker, you could see tracer rounds flying over the
yeah. Right.
distance, and then RPGs and stuff going between the green zone and one of the A&A compounds up on the corner.
Yeah,
And it's just like fireworks every night. And
every
want us
night,
to
mate.
go to take turns, just like, you need us? No. And come back from the CP, go back up. No, boys, we're good. And I do remember there was during the day one of the boys, like the base did got shot up, and the sight would have made the RSM cringe.
Yeah,
Just because it was in that situation, it's whatever you're dressed in. you kit up and you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's people dressed in appropriate attire,
Yeah.
um, just getting the job done. And I'm sitting back with the medic, and I'm just like, oh my God, like this is surreal. Like it was one of those moments where I just sort of sat back and just took everything in.
Yeah.
Where I wasn't cooking for dinner, I wasn't going on peak, I wasn't doing anything. It was just sit there and wait. I'm just like, this is
What?
unreal.
This is crazy, man. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm in the middle of this. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm on
yeah,
the other side of the planet, and there's rounds going down range.
yeah. And you'd hear the occasional crack thump over your head, and it's just like, whatever. It's
Yeah.
nowhere near us just because of where it was all situated with HESCO
Yeah.
walls and stuff. And Doc and I just sit there talking rubbish and just laughing and looking around, see if anyone needs us. Nah, cool. Go back to talking shit.
Mate, it's the
Um,
Pogue's dream.
It's so good. It was so good. I keep saying send me back any day because
Yeah.
it's the one place where you're taken off the bench and you're actually doing your job as it's intended. Cooking we at the time were doing 3 times a day every day. Didn't mean anything. But
Yeah.
to mix that in with your on pickets, live rounds coming back at you, actual casualties coming in, both ours and
Yep.
A&A. Yeah, it was it. And like when you're on radio, comms alive, you're feeding things through. It was just an incredible experience
Yeah.
to be there.
I'm
And that was
somewhat.
just
I'm
my first
somewhat.
patrol base.
Mate, I'm somewhat. Well, it's not like I'm jealous, but I can feel the excitement in your voice, and like I didn't have that experience when I was there. I was stuck in TK virtually the whole time. But this is soldiering, mate. This is what it's all about, no matter what corps you're in.
Yeah, you would have had some rocket attacks and IDF and stuff
Yeah, there was
at
plenty of
TK.
that, but well, not heaps of it, but there was enough of it like to freak me out the first couple of times. But by the end, it's that classic saying, individual experiences vary. I was really lucky, mate. I had a warm bed every night, or not that warm. It was pretty cold at the time, but I had a bed, I should say. But
Yeah,
I was just blessed to see the mountains, man, and just to have just a little bit of an experience over there. But so that was the FSU 4 trip. Can you
yeah.
tell us a little bit about the 3 hour trip? Was that very different? Same kind of work?
Um, Same kind of work, same sort of principle. But
Yeah.
this time we were situated inside a Kandak compound. So we had A&A
Yep.
Kandak surrounding us. Um, and that was an experience or several experiences. We had 3 people KIA on that trip, um, from Green on Blue as well. That
Yep.
was Milo, Marty, and Pody.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not sure. I think there might have been a death just before or just after that. But yeah, we had 3 guys KIA and 2 wounded. One of those guys being our mechanic, who was
Mm.
in my room. So there's 4 to a container.
Yep.
And yeah, we got really close, and I'd just come off picket, and the 2IC's gone, Newey, wake everyone up, no duff now. And I've gone, fuck, righto. Running around, waking everyone up, getting them in. And then that's when we got told the news of what had just happened. Um, and
And
seeing,
when the 3 lads were killed, were you in that same compound at the same time?
no, no, the boys were out doing a patrol with the
Yeah.
A&A. So they'd stopped off at another patrol base. And
Oh, gotcha.
one of the A&A decided to be opportunistic and fired
Go
into a
rogue.
tent. And then he took off and like escaped, and yeah. So that was harsh because in that same patrol base, the trip before us, they'd also lost 3 people
Mm.
from a green on blue, but it was in a different situation. I was patrol base pacemaker at Carib. Uh, yeah, I can't remember. It's just called a pacemaker.
Mate, if I can ask it again, I've never experienced this, but I've been a spectator to all of these events, being in the army at that time. How are you going about your daily activity of being in that FOB with the Kandaks after these events happen? Like, obviously there must have been some kind of more separation between the two, but it's I can think of it as being nothing but just gut wrenching, particularly after Jonesy and that. For this, it just kept happening.
Yeah. Yeah, it hit close to home, that one. Because you had two trips, two instances. Well, there was a few more, but the worst ones. And you just get on with it. Like you sort
Yeah.
of get very good at compartmentalization and just get on with it, I guess. You've got a job to do. I had 3 meals a day plus two pickets to manage.
Well,
Um,
guys and girls still need
and
feeding.
exactly right. So I just focused on my role and made sure I wasn't a liability to the team. So did what I had to do when I had to do it.
I just fucking love that attitude, mate. Just yeah, I'm part of the team here. I'm gonna pull my bit. You know, we're all in this together, mate. I just want to sort of thank you for sharing that. To be honest, before we got on to this chat, I didn't know about that stuff. So thank you for letting me just ask and share it, and particularly to keep the names of those lads alive. Um, but mate, I just want to, can I talk about what did you cook every day? What was the equipment like? What was the tucker like?
Um, Most of the patrol bases were good. We got 7 every 7 days. We got resupplied by chopper.
Yeah,
So a huge white chopper come in. They'd load off pallets and pallets of food, and boys would go out in their quad bikes, loading stuff up, bringing it back. See a few pallets, a few boxes of Red Bull, move off
yeah,
to the
yeah.
side
Yeah.
out of the chain. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
But
us, us,
it
no questions, get no lies.
Nah, boys were happy, and it was great. Like the food over there was phenomenal. Like we're getting massive tomahawk steaks, like
Oh, yeah,
huge things, and I cooked them up, garlic butter, rosemary, so good. Um, Curly fries the boys loved,
yeah.
obviously your palmies. Um, but every day, brekkie was their own like continental for the most part, unless they were going on patrol, and I'd make them banjos or
Yeah.
something to carb them up. But it was continental brekkie, cooked lunch, cooked dinner, and then they had snacks throughout the day. They had open access to the dining room. We had your normal toaster, fridges, freezers, whatever. And they'd have 3 hot choices of mains, and then lunch would be 4 salads, and then dinner would be 3 meats, 3 veg, plus a hot dessert, cold dessert on top
How
of
many
the
hours a day? Everyone's
yeah.
chipping in, everyone's pulling hours. How many hours a day are you doing you got to cook banjos? The lads go out at daybreak. What time are you getting up?
Depends. So it's always dependent on battle rhythm. So if the
Yeah.
boys are leaving at 4, I'd probably be up. I'd make my picket for, 12 to 1, get in, make the banjos, send them on their way. Um, or if the boys were coming back from a patrol, I'd make sure someone woke me up a few hours beforehand. So I had time to prep them some food. So as they came back in from their patrol, they had hot food, cold drinks, or when it was cold, have some hot chocolate, soup, stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, man, but it's just like I just feel or almost can see or sense your commitment to the team. Like the warfighters have got a tremendously challenging job in their daily bread to go out and do what they do. And your humble but extremely important part of right here, lads, good job. Come back in here. Your feed's on the table, mate. You're ready to crack on. Or lads, so for anyone who doesn't know what a banjo is, we've got about a quarter of our audience in the US. It's just bacon egg rolls.
Ah, yeah.
Bacon egg rolls.
Uh,
But like if you're going on patrol, how good's a bacon egg roll and a cup of coffee before you head out the
oh,
door?
so good. So
Right.
good. Uh,
Love it.
Yeah. Just
How
for I was just gonna say with the banjos, do you know why they call it a banjo?
I got no idea actually, man. I just thought it was
No.
some Aussie.
No, so it's when you bite into a bacon egg roll and the yolk's running
Yeah,
and
yeah, I love
then
it.
drips onto your uniform. So you're holding the banjo on one hand and brushing it off your
Flicking it
shirt.
off.
So it looks like you're playing a banjo.
I never knew that, but I've had plenty of sloppy egg all over me. That's for sure. Oh, mate, that's
Oh,
tops. Um,
yeah.
is there anything you want to more share about your experiences, or you want to get cracking on about transition?
Um, Yeah, no, just experiences may vary.
Mm,
Out there, you're part of the team, and everyone relies on everyone. You pull your weight, and yeah, it was definitely go back. But
yeah,
yeah,
man. Well, what an experience. And for your soldiering as a cook to be out there in a combat cook, are we allowed to call you that?
yeah,
I know we're all
I
too
guess so.
humble to
We'll roll with
probably. But
it.
man, I'm just humbled by you sharing your experience, mate, and being out there and playing Cowboys and Indians for proper time,
Yeah.
mate. When do you know that it's time for a change and that army's good, but there's something else out there?
Um, it was hitting me for a while. Um, and sort of my what's the word? I had aspirations to move on. From about 2015, I wanted to become an army physiotherapist, army SSO. Just because I saw at the time there were so many people not getting the correct treatment, particularly in the rehab space for the warfighters. And the stigma was there of, oh, you're broken. You go to the broken platoon and get shat on.
Yeah.
Don't know if I can swear. Um,
Oh, we've already got the
constantly
little
and
E with the box on it, mate. It can't be helped.
oh, cool, cool. And yeah, I'm like, this has got to be better. And I'd gone had a few stints where I did my back in Afghanistan, did my wrists, ankles, the normal stuff. And the treatment that I was getting, they didn't listen to what was done and they just gave me generic stuff, or they were over the top and prolonged me getting better, far longer than it should have. And so I thought, I love sport and exercise. I love the body. I know what the boys are going through because at that stage I've been first, second, third line defense.
Yep.
I know what everyone's expected to do and what the requirements are. By that stage, I'd done 7 years, 8 years. And I'm like, I've got the experience there. I can bring that in as an SSO, help the young LTs come through that don't get
Yep.
any training before they put on that uniform. So I thought I could be an asset there. So I let my schemer know, chain of command know, and like, yep, yep, yep. Once you get studying, we'll sort you out.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
took a few
yeah. No, no,
years.
no.
Yeah. Usual story. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. And it's a bit of a sore point, that one.
Yeah.
So I ended up studying sport and exercise science, got about 15 subjects in, paid my own way, did it in my own time, even out bush. Like I'd pre-download my study while I'd be out
Come
field.
on, man. Yeah.
I'd be studying while still on my bush shit. Um, just to get it done because I'm like, this is my goal. Like this is where I want to be. And it gave me like that extra driving force. And then when that got stripped from me, um, it was like a gut punch because it was told, yep, next year. And then next year came, oh, no, no, we're too busy. Can't afford to lose you next year. And I'm like, I'm at the crux point where I have to do it on campus now. Um,
Yeah. Are you
because
with
I'd
me or
actually got,
against me here? Like, what
yeah,
are we doing?
yeah. And they basically went, you can go discharge, circ at 5, or leave without pay. They were the three options.
Mate,
And yeah, it
bit of a gut
got to me.
punch.
Yep.
Yep.
But I went, okay, cool. I'll put that on the back burner. Um, and then as I did that, got promoted to sergeant and then posted 10 FSB in Townsville, and then basically finished off my career as a sergeant cook.
Yep. Well, I remember maybe it was a blessing in disguise because when I was at 3RER, one of my best mates down there, Brendan Mackay, was the battalion physio. And he got his own T-shirt made up, like with a big oil thing. No happy endings was the T-shirt that he walked around with. So he's a good lad. Actually, he ended up being best man at my wedding. I haven't spoken to him for a little while. I got to get in touch with him, mate. But
Oh, there you
anyway, no happy endings was his motto,
go.
mate. So now,
That's good.
okay, the die's cast. You're on your way out.
Yeah.
What year was that,
I discharged June last year, June 2024.
mate? So this is only fresh, right? Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
very fresh.
And Okay, let's switch into Candid now. Candid Property.
Yeah.
Where are you from the choices? You've always been in the military. You've always been told what you do and done a job. Where's this entrepreneurial itch coming from?
It was sort of always there. I just didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to do it. Um, and Army actually gave me that sort of experience with two trips on ACAP, the Army Aboriginal
Oh, yeah.
Community Assistance Program with 6CSR. So I was their catering corporal, in charge of doing certificate two in hospitality, 16 to 17. And basically all it was the TAFE would give you the tests and be like, there you go. So I
Yeah,
had
right.
to reverse engineer from the tests, do all the research on what the state and federal education stuff was, formulate the training programs, the content, the resources, stuff like, and communicate that back to our training development officer, um, who was amazing.
Yeah.
And the second year, she was amazing too. Um, but it gave me that sense of, okay, this is all the legislation I need. This is all the SOPs. This is everything I need. And I did it from scratch. Um,
Mm.
and I just execute it. So it was good seeing the amount of work that goes into setting up a business. Um, and coming over to 10FSB in 2016, the company was fresh. So we're jumping in, sorting out the workplace health safety SOPs, trying to sort out the platoon SOPs, um, stuff like that. Just all the governance that's involved. Um, was a lot. So between those two gigs, sort of gave me a lot of experience. And then discharging as a sergeant, I was platoon sergeant, ops sergeant, training sergeant. Um, did a little bit impromptu um, platoon, sorry, the operations woe and the platoon commander for a little bit while ours were way on course.
But I
And
always think that serving personnel, we're so varied in terms of the skills and experiences we have, but we're so well set up to be business people. And all of those roles that you mentioned there, all those operations roles, which are not on the tools cooking roles, they're all just about solving problems. I got this, I need to turn it into that. I've got limited resources, I've got to spread it out. This is going to happen in the future. How am I going to get there? And these basic operation skills yeah, are really fundamental for running a good business. The next part of it, if we can infuse a bit of sales and marketing and a bit of cash flow accounting into that mix, there's some of the skills I don't believe I got well out of the military when I didn't feel comfortable selling or branding myself, or I didn't understand managing my money, let alone it was always just army's money. But mate,
yeah,
what? How did you get into property? Because if there's two things that soldiers, sailors, and air people love, it is coffee and property.
yeah, yeah. So it all started off on like personal development, just trying to manage my own finances, trying to look to the future, being like, crap, I'm 30. Yes, I have a house, but what am I setting up for my kids?
Yeah,
What can I impart to my kids? It's like, well, I can't teach them and guide them as they grow up if I don't know it. So I sort of went on a huge bender of personal finance, money management, how the economics work. Um, and then as I was looking into investing, property got in there. I'm like, okay, cool. And then as I do, I deep dive in. And I'm
yeah,
like, oh yeah. And you're talking to people like through the career. People want to buy a house. I don't know where to buy, what they're looking for. People go out buy a house and it's termite ridden. There was a meth lab in one of them. Yeah, I wasn't disclosed. Um, someone had died in another property. Um, yeah, there was just all these things that mistakes that people had been making um, throughout my career. And then as I became a corporal and a sergeant, I was sort of talking to the digs, trying to find out what they're doing, where they're buying, what their considerations are. It was all the same thing. I don't know what benefits I've got, don't know what the grants are. There's so much
Mm.
paperwork. We're working from 7 till 4 every day. Um,
Where do we go
if
for
you're on
that
if you're on
advice?
day shift, where do we
Yeah.
exactly where do you go?
Yeah.
And there was nowhere. Like unless you had somebody that um was in there already, like in that space already, your partner didn't work, or you had family members that could go inspect houses for you, or you had a good real estate agent that would do after hours. It was just tough titties. And at the time, we were spending 6 weeks away at a time. And if you're looking for a house, like how
Yeah.
are you gonna
How
do
do you
it?
get any
Like,
continuity here?
yep. And it's like it's so hard for people, and then they just give up because they're like, oh, I want to buy a house this year at the start of the year. And it's like, oh, how are you going with the house? Oh, no, don't have time.
Yeah. It's interesting
And
like because before I joined I joined the army later, but I had no money before I joined the army. I wasn't taught any of these business skills. My parents were workers, and they taught me that the way to make money was to work hard, and maybe own a house when you retire, and maybe not be on the pension. But like I didn't have any of those skills, and it was the first time I was in the army that I actually had some disposable income. I think when I joined the army, I was working on a farm and I think I might have been on 28 or 30 grand a year or something like that. Just doing whatever I was doing, picking flowers or, fruit picking or whatever I was
yeah,
doing. But then all of a sudden I got a bit of coin in the bank and you've got plenty of people giving you heaps of opinions. I remember the first guy, he was all well meaning, but he came into the company and did a chat on investing into managed funds. So I'm like, yeah, sweet. I'll chuck my savings into a managed fund. And then it must have been a day before the 2007 global crash or whatever, because it just dropped by a
mm,
half like 2 days later. I was just like, but on that point,
wow.
I'm coming back to where do you go you know, for the right information and the right guidance? And it's a really important, powerful thing to number one, have your own financial shit in one sock. So you can be sharing not only through lived experience, but, through professionalism as well. So,
Yeah,
okay. So if I'm a digger or someone looking for a house, do you do residential? Do you do investment? Tell me about the model.
yeah. So I specialize in residential and
Yep.
investment properties.
Yep.
Um, future will be commercial, later down the track. But if anyone needs their own PPOR, primary place of residence, or the investment property, I can help them out with that anywhere in Queensland.
Is it your
Cool.
specialty in the Queensland area? That's where you're focusing on researching the market and looking for the best opportunities in that area?
Yeah, so at the macro scale, I'll look at Queensland, and then my micro section is the Ipswich government area,
Yep.
basically from Springfield to Toowoomba, um, down to a little bit down to Boona, up to Ivanhoe Dam. So it's a big area, but it's not as big as say Sydney.
Got it.
So I can still track infrastructure, maintenance, all that's like where all the new development sites are. I can sort that out.
And one of the things I never really understood when I was in was all the entitlements between DOAS and there was another one where so DOAS was me buying a house. There was also another one I think where if you're in rent assistance or in a married quarter, they would actually give you money to get out. I don't know if they have. Has a lot of those products or services from defence changed?
Um, they are changing regularly.
Or HPAS, that was the other one,
Yes.
Home Purchase Assistance Scheme or something like that. So
Yep.
we're sick of you being in married quarter or renting, whatever it's called, rent assistance. So we'll help you get out and buy your own place.
Yep. So we did this. We got DOHAS and HPAS for my first
Yep.
property up in Townsville. Um, and then because we are moving from a service residence into our own home, Toll came to the party and paid for the removals to move us from A to B. Um, and we're only moving a K and a half down the road. So
Yeah. Right.
it
Yeah.
was a quick pack up, quick move. It was great. Um, and then there's a third one called Hepsi, Home
Hepsi.
Purchase
Yep.
Sale Expense Assistance or something. So it works off if you have a house, buy a house, do a house. and then you sell it due to service reasons, so you're posting
Yep.
whatever it may be, it will cover your expenses from you selling your house and then buying another house in the new location.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. I've got to admit, one of the dumbest things I ever did with money was I was in a married quarter behind Randwick Barracks. So I was like, sweet, 3-bedroom house. I was paying, I don't know what, maybe $700 a week for it, which was dirt cheap relative to what was around us. And I had a mate who was in real estate come up, and he was selling properties. He's like, I've got someone, it's a deceased estate. They want 600 for it. And it's going to auction in 3 days' time. He goes, if you got it, you can go buy it. And this was in the heart of sort of like Alexandria, Redfern, Waterloo kind. I think it's called the Golden Triangle or something like that.
Right.
Tiny little place, 2-bedroom. We went out and had a look at it, and I was like, oh, I've got rent assistance. What do I need to buy my own place for? But I thought I'll turn up to the auction and I'll have a look. So I could have bought it for 600. I turned up the
Yeah.
auction 3 days later, and opening bid 750. And I was just like, what? Like, seriously, opening bid was
Wow.
750, and the dude just bought it off one bid. And that
Wow.
place, so I could have made, yeah, who knows, mate? Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Oh,
Ever,
it's yeah.
but I was limited in my thinking, and I'm bringing it back around to why people should talk to you about this stuff. And buying's not for everybody, but having someone like yourself, if you don't really understand the pros and cons of the long-term ramifications of your choices, like that was 2000 and maybe 11. So if we kept the property, there'd be an easy $1 million in equity we would have. Easy. But we just
Probably
had no
double.
idea, mate, because we didn't
Yeah.
know what the options were out there for us.
Yeah.
And I was an officer, so I had access to all the info. Like, it only makes me wonder, soldier, sailor, and air persons, air people. I don't know. Can we
Yeah.
still call them them?
I think it's air people now. I
Oh,
don't know.
sorry. No offense to my Rafi brethren, trying to get it right. Um, but it's
I'm
just
sure they'll put it in
having,
the comments.
yeah, it's about having the right advice and the right people to
Yeah.
turn to, and that's what you're here for.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing is there's lots of strategies. Like defense gave me one thing in that, or lots of things, but one of the things is surround yourself with a team
Mm,
that are smarter than you and will help you, guide you, mentor, and you're of mutual benefits, like benefits to each other.
yeah,
So, we go out, we plan an exercise. You've got truckies, cooks, clerks, QEs, warfighters, external suppliers. Like the head of each section in one room, getting briefs on this is the end state, this is what we need to do, these are the objectives, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you all bounce off each other. It's like, oh, cooks, we need fuel, gas, electricity, this, that, whatever. And people would write down the notes, they'd go off and then come back the next time. And it's like, where are you at with that? And then piece by piece, the puzzle would get put together. And then come D-Day, everything's sorted. That mentality is the same approach I'm putting into defense. Oh, sorry, into my Candid Property is surround myself with people in the business that know what they're talking about, are professional, share the same values, and that's client focused because there's a lot of transactional focused people, but client focused and are willing to work together.
yeah,
So I've got
absolutely.
accountants, mortgage brokers, all good.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And even if you
Oh
can
yeah,
do it, is it your best time to do it? Now, and what I
yes,
mean by that is when I had a HQ and a WB Kingswood, I knew how to fix the water pump and, do some basic, repairs on it, but I couldn't afford not to do it. I had to do it myself.
yeah,
Now I've got a fancy black European car. I don't even want to do it. Number one, it's not worth my time to fix my car. Number two, I'm not the expert at it. And number three, I could be better off focusing on what I'm great at and letting other people do what they're great at. And I think this is where
yeah,
you're saying, building that team of advisors is so important.
yeah. And that's the thing is we're a one-stop shop at Candid Property. You come to us, we have everything available to give you information. Um, we're there for you, and you don't know what you don't know. So if you're willing
Yeah.
to, if you got a plan and you don't know how to get there, we can give you options to get there. And if it's financial advice you need, accounting you need for investments, we have all
Got
that.
the team.
Got the team there. So it takes that time off you if you're in between bush trips, out from sea, busy work and 12-hour days. Then you got to go home to the partner and kids,
Yep.
whatever else is going on. Where are you going to fit in that time to go looking for property, researching suburbs? Like talking to a mortgage broker is painful enough with your finances,
Yeah.
with in some cases. So by the time you add up all those stages, you could be focusing on what you're good at. You're a warfighter. Go focus on being a warfighter. Let someone who's an expert deal with your situation. You tell them what you want. They'll be little worker ants and go
Yeah.
get the information, bring it in one spot to you.
Also, I like what you just said then about, exercise and deployments. For a lot of us, if we don't get concurrent activity going before we leave, it's like your life goes on pause for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 months, whatever that time away is. You get your shit in one sock before you can go. You can get concurrent activity going. You might come back off your deployment and have a couple of options to buy ready to go, and you've made a bit of money from your trip, and then you're into it.
Yeah.
Well, mate, what's next? What's next for you and Candid? You got anything coming up?
Yeah, so we've just had our ads put on our local radio station. So try and get some brand awareness out to the local community. Um, and just expanding basically. So just doing lots of calls with clients, shaking hands with real estate agents and professionals. Because the more people I have, some people are busy. So I like having options there. But for the moment, starting small, residential and investment residential properties, and then we'll move on to commercial
Mate, I
in
love it.
probably 2 years.
Well, mate, first of all, I'll go back and say thank you for sharing what are very personal and will probably always be very raw experiences for you. So thank you for being so open about those. But I guess for people out there, particularly, if you are serving or veteran and you're looking for property investment, having cohort of people that understand your world, have walked in your shoes and understand what you were trying to achieve is really, the crux of what we want to do here at VBC, is good people doing good business with other great people, mate. And Jason, I appreciate you jumping on and sharing some time with me today.
No, thanks for that, Pete. Appreciate it.
Okay, so number one, if you're interested in property, maybe you're looking at a new residential, you want to move into Southeast Queensland. If you're posting up there to Amberley with either, Air Force or Army, and you're looking to buy a place, get in touch with Jason. He can probably help you find a place before you even get there. Now, secondly, no matter where you are in the country, if you want some advice on property, where the right places is, what the right investments are, reach out to Candid. And as we've heard from Jason, he's walked in your shoes. And I say maybe I don't I don't know if I wish I walked in your shoes or not, mate. But thank you for your contribution and for your service, mate.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Champion. Right. Well, that this episode has just taken me a little bit. I wouldn't say it surprised me, but Jason, I fully wasn't. I knew you're a cook. I wasn't expecting us to go down that tangent, so I just want to recognize that. It did take me a little bit to re-grasp my thinking, as I just sort of reflect on your experiences, mate, and your service to the country, and to the soldiers out there you're cooking food for every day.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Champion. All right, let's wrap it there. Pretty cool pod today. Really appreciated hearing Jason's story. If the veteran business community, the most important part of that VBC word for me is community. The second one is veteran, and the third one is business. So we want to find a place that us people who used to wear uniform at one part of our life can come hang out with other people. You don't have to watch your P's and Q's here. You can be who you are, and you can live your shared experience with us. So thanks for listening to another episode of the Veteran Business Community Podcast. My name's Pete Liston, and